All right, the number one tip that I have for you on grading has to do with rubrics. And I know not everybody uses rubrics, but for those of you who do, I really think it's important to talk a little bit about how the rubrics work in Canvas. One of the things that's true about the rubrics in Canvas is that the rubrics travel with you and not with the course. Now, what is true is that in order to find a rubric, when you go to use a rubric that you've created before, you will find it listed under your course. But what's important to know is that no matter what course you're in, when you're working in Canvas at UNC, you will always be able to find your rubrics. So you don't have to go to the course to find it. You don't have to go import it from another course. You'll be able to find your rubrics. And so the reason that I tell you that is because when you're creating a rubric in Canvas, you want to create a rubric with that in mind so that you don't have to reinvent the rubric wheel every time that you need a rubric. You can create a rubric that you can reuse over many courses, as many as you would like. And so let me show you how the rubrics in Canvas work. So I am on an assignment summary page. So when you click on an assignment from the index page, this is where you land. This is all of the information that your students see when they come to complete an assignment. And the rubric tool, the most useful rubric tool, lives right here with the assignment so that you can attach it directly to the assignment. So we'll do plus rubric, and here's the rubric tool. And you build a rubric right here in these three columns, actually. So you do a description of a criterion. If you click on the pencil, we could do a use of sources, would be one criterion. And then you would describe how you evaluate, okay, the use of sources. And then you've got ratings. And so you can do 5 points, you can do 20 points, you can add whatever point score you want here. I'll do 20 points for use of sources. I've got a 100-point assignment, so I'll do that. And then for full mark, once I enter that, for full marks, it'll be 20 points, and for no marks, it'll be 0. So 0 would be does not have sources. Not use sources. Okay. And then 20 is going to be, excellent use of sources or some range. If we said 14 here, this would be meets source expectations, okay, or something like that. And then you can describe what that means. All right, and so you kind of got ranges built in. So 15 to 20 is going to be full marks, and 0 to 14 would be, you might want to add other ranges. So you can do that. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can play with this, and you've got the ratings. You could also decide that you don't like these rating scales, and you can just write free-form comments. Okay, so the rubrics tool is very nice. And you can play around with it and do different things with it. So one of the things you can do once you get your criterion set up is you can duplicate it. So it makes it a little bit easier. So content, date. So it's a little bit easier to create a rubric. And you can copy and paste from any text-based rubrics you might already have. Okay, and then you build it out, and that's it. In order to make a rubric something that you can reuse, you may want to consider the title. So instead of saying English 100, for example, English 100 Essay 1, you might just say Essay Rubric. And that way you can use the same rubric for all of your essays. And that's really the tip, is that these travel with you. And so when you create one, think about reusability. Think about how I can make my life easier in the future by creating a rubric that I can reuse. Okay, so I'm not going to create this rubric. I'm going to cancel it because I want you to see how I've already created an essay rubric at a different time for a different purpose. I'm going to go in now for this essay and find the rubric. And so once you create a rubric, you'll be able to go into find and you'll see all the rubrics you've ever created here on the left. You'll be able to click on the course where you created it, and then it will show up here, and then you can review it. When you click on it here, you can take a look at it, make sure that's the one you want, and then say use this rubric, and now you've got the full rubric there. Okay, so that's my number one grading tip for you, is that your rubrics are worth the time because you can set them up so that you can reuse them.